Hello, folks. I'm Detroit Miracle. Yes, and indeed. Right now, I am here to review the 2000 movie trailer for The X-Men. Yes, this was the first live action X-Men movie that appeared in the year 2000. It had a who's who's. It had a major list of major celebrities appearing in this film, such as Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, and Halle Berry. Yeah, so many of us was intrigued to get out to see this movie, of course, and not just because it was being portrayed by iconic actors and actresses. It's because it's the X-Men, which has been a popular comic book for decades. So there are many X-Men comic book readers, of course. So I ended up seeing this movie years ago, but I never reviewed the trailer for it. Yeah, but it showed exciting clips earlier on. I was like, wow, this looks interesting, so I have to go out to see it like every other happy movie goer. And I must say that I was impressed. When I got there, when I watched this film, I was like, wow, that was quite good. It was one thing I had a problem with: the character Rogue. In this particular film, live action movie, it introduced Wolverine and Rogue to the school of gifted kids at Charles Xavier's Academy, but they didn't give Rogue her full powers. She only had powers to take people's powers, but she didn't have superhuman strength and flight and speed like they showed her with in a comic book and in a cartoon. So I was like, wow, I ain't Rogue, she's not going to have her full powers. But in this particular film characterization, Rogue was a teenager. She wasn't a matured adult. So I figured maybe eventually they would give her powers as the series went on, but they never did. It's been about, what, 4 or 5 X-Men movies, and Rogue has never gotten her full powers from Ms. Marvel, of course. Anyway, I recently sat down to watch this trailer because I had never seen a trailer for this X-Men movie. So I went into the theaters flying blind, as I used to do. And back in the day, I barely watched clips or anything of the film because I didn't want to spoil it for me. But, hey, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, in fact, but, So anyway, I sat down and watched the trailer, and I'm going to review it for your very listening pleasures and enjoyment. Okay, here we go. Now it starts off with a narration. They're showing a senator, and they're showing other people at a great hall assembly, and they're talking about the mutant issue and the mutant thing on Earth. And the senator is addressing the issue by saying the mutants are here and they're very real. So this particular Senator Kelly, is trying to outlaw and ban mutants. He's trying to register them under a mutant act or something like that. And Charles Xavier, of course, is trying to counter that and stop them. They're shown now in this hall. Okay. Now they're showing the School of the Gifted Kids, which is the X-Men Academy. They're showing kids do exceptional things. In other words, they're showing them use their powers, and Charles and his instructors train those kids that have special abilities. He trains them to control their powers and contain their powers. All right, they're showing Magneto. Of course, he's doing something Magneto-like by manipulating metal. All right, they're showing Wolverine and Rogue together. They arrived at the X-Men Academy around the same time. Wow, they're showing some cool mutant fights. They're showing Scott Summers uses optic beams, of course. That's cool. They're showing the train station where Storm is using her electrical powers on Toad, because Toad and some other mutants were sent there to capture Rogue from the train station, of course. Magneto needs Rogue because her powers are amazing, and they, of course, but she can, if he takes her powers, of course, she would die. So they're trying to rescue her, the X-Men, that is. Now they're talking about a mutant war or something like that to come. I must add, Storm looks amazing in this trailer. Now Storm's eyes are shown glowing white. All right, folks. I'm not going to spoil any more of this trailer for you in case you haven't seen the film. I just tell you that it's so exciting and epic that you need to get out and see it yourself. Okay, folks, let me know how you feel about this one.